Hey, good morning, Nicole. Hey guys, good morning, good morning. Hey Misty, good morning. Guys, I am literally had a late start to my morning, so I'm getting dressed, which is why I'm not in the camera. I'm literally doing my, hey Blanche. I'm literally getting ready, but I wanted to chat while I did that. Guys, do me a favor, if you're in here, we all know that Ivory's under a serious shadow ban, so share out the live, please, and keep on tapping my face, please.
Morning.
Good morning. I don't know if this person meant to request.
What are we
Good
chatting about today?
Amy Bradley.
Ooh.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey,
hey
Sam.
Sam.
Good morning.
All right, so I'm going to be doing my makeup and I'm going to be talking, but I wanted to go over what people are confusing as fact with the Amy Bradley case and what is actual theories and what we actually know.
Oh, I love this.
Good.
Because
I love this.
that I think people have a misunderstanding of. I don't know that they realize or they understand what's actual fact and what's actual not. And I invite, I want to invite people up here to talk, to ask questions, I'm not going to go at anybody for thinking differently than me. I'm all about good, honest conversation. And I would love for somebody to, say that I'm wrong. Give me something else to look at that I haven't seen.
I love a good debate.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's a bunch of nonsense out there and it's just getting, have you invited Midnight Mysteries Archive? Guys, invite him. Yeah, someone go send him my live. I would love for people to come up here and talk, have a conversation. You
Yeah,
know?
I would love to hear like maybe his theory or his or hers their theory on um why they come with the conclusion that they have on this.
Guys, let's talk about it. What do we know to be fact? We know Amy was aboard that ship, right? We know
Yes.
Amy was in the nightclub with Yellow and
Yes.
other people. People keep saying with Yellow, but with Yellow and other people.
Right.
We don't know that Ron Bradley went to that nightclub. That story has changed. One minute he wasn't there, and then all of a sudden he went there to pick up them and to talk to them. So again, I don't know that that can be proven or fact or that he was actually there. Hey, Dons, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, Dons.
Hi.
And how's it going?
All we
Good,
really know is
thanks.
she was in the club, exactly, Truth Finder. We know she was in that club dancing with Yellow. We don't even know that she got back to that room, if I'm going to be completely honest. We know that there were two key card swipes. Just because the name on the key card doesn't mean that person was the one that entered at that time. But according to the Bradley family, there were three people that re-entered that room. That
But
right
only
there is
two,
what made that happen.
but only two key cards mentioned by the FBI.
Right.
If you remember, the FBI agent says, I've posted about it, she says, we do know the time that the family returned to the room. We know that Brad returned at 3:35 and Amy returned at 3:40 via the key cards. But she never mentioned Ron's, even though she said the family.
Right. Exactly. Who else confirmed Ron was at the club? Anyone besides Ron and Brad? So far, I have no confirmation that Ron was ever at that nightclub at 3 o'clock in the morning. Again, a lot of the information that we have, you only take into consideration very slightly because it's all via the Bradley family.
And that's what Kat said. Remember, Kat said the narrative is the family's narrative. We have to look at where that information is coming from.
Right. Now, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to go with the family. I'm speaking facts. It's facts that a lot of the information comes from the Bradley family and cannot be confirmed. So people are hanging on their every word, running with it as fact, trying to come up with what they believe happened to Amy. You got to take that out of the equation. You got to
And
take
to
it
me,
with a grain of salt.
something I don't understand is a year after Amy, well, the day before a year after Amy went missing, they filed 2 lawsuits against Royal Caribbean. One claiming that she was alive, the other claiming that she was dead. So they got caught perpetrating fraud on the court. They hid over 100 eyewitnesses. They hid the security report. So this alone brings their integrity into question.
Right.
That brings that. So anybody with any kind of sense would have some form of suspicion just from that alone.
Now, this isn't a go at people, but I have seen content creators talking about they've been raising money and doing investigations all this time. Why would they do that? Do we have any real proof that the money that they raised went to investigating Amy Bradley's disappearance?
There's no proof. There's no proof at all. I asked on X if he has a record of the private investigators that they've used, and do they keep records of where the money's been spent. Nothing. Crickets.
Now, remember when I showed you guys the other day, and I'll show you guys later, I'll put it in a video because I'm literally doing my makeup right now, but when I told you that Mitchell Galloway, who was their supposed alleged investigator, when I told you about the lawyers that were down there and he told everyone that they were investigating, that there were investigators down there. So
Yeah.
he was calling those lawyers investigators. So I went and I made a comment underneath that picture on Facebook. And I said, so why are their lawyers? Their insurance lawyers. His response to me confirmed the fact that they were his lawyers, that they were down there investigating. Don't make it seem like there's investigators down there investigating the crime because these people look guilty. It was the Bradley family's friends' lawyers. They're lawyers.
I'm thinking that they were just there on holiday and decided to go and speak to that man because they look like tourists.
Yeah.
In the photo, they look like they're on holiday, not like investigators or lawyers.
Those socks had me cracking up in that picture. Like, they were snatched so up high that you could see the heel part of the sock over top of the back of the shoes. I was dying laughing. Just side note.
Yeah, every time I see that picture, I laugh. I just picture them.
Like,
in
I
like
can't take it seriously.
It reminds me of my grandpa Bob walking at the mall in the morning when I was a kid.
But
Like mall walks.
why are
Like,
you
why
making it seem like you have these investigators down there investigating when, and again, they said that it wasn't true. However, his response to me confirmed that they were in fact the lawyers. Earl Nance is the same guy who started the GoFundMe for Ivor Bradley.
Which is strange because it's Brad who's speaking on there, pretty much giving the same patter that he gave 18 months after Amy disappeared. So Brad claimed that the life insurance was automatically paid after 12 months because it was international waters. Now, what's really happened is they've applied for the death certificate. Once they've got that, they've then applied for the life insurance. So that's 12 months. Then 6 months after that, Brad wrote a post asking for donations. So they had 300,000 for the Find Amy fund, her life insurance, and 6 months after having the life insurance, and whilst they've still got these funds, he's begging for more money. How much money did they think that they were going to need? Let's just say the funds ran low and they never had the life insurance. Fair enough. But why was he still? The post actually says, "I live in Chesterfield, Virginia, wherever, up until with my mum, dad, and sister, up until 18 months ago." So it was 18 months after she disappeared, 6 months after they had the life insurance, and they had the $300,000 pretty much within a month of her going missing, and then ongoing donations. So he's asking for money after they've got all that. And then he wonders why people are saying this seems like it's all about money.
Yeah, exactly. Now, people who sat there, all these creators and people who are out there making videos and doing all these things, I ask these people this. Did you actually do any investigating on your own? Or are you just trying to prove it, hearing what the Bradley family is saying and through documentaries? Because I personally have dug on my own.
Anybody?
I have looked into the Bradleys. I have looked into everybody.
Anybody who investigates it independently will get to the same circle that others have. And it all comes back to the family.
Yeah.
It just, because there's just too many lies being told.
Now, I just want to preface this, I just want to say that, guys, I am not trying to sit there and say they did anything physically to her. But I do think that a lot of it is a scam, if I'm going to give my honest opinion, because of what I have seen with everything I looked at. Now, I'm not telling anybody, again, you all know me, don't believe me. Go do your own homework. That I do ask you all to do. Don't believe anybody at their word. Look into it. If you really, truly want to have an opinion and you want to see, and this case bothers you, go do your homework. Go do the digs. Go do the deep dives. Go look into it.
They act like people just decide to wake up one day and pick on a family of a missing person. They don't look. If Brad actually looks back, I was the person who mentioned the divider, saying, because that ship was pretty much new, it was like a year old, them dividers would be very easy to pull back because this was before I realised that Wayne worked with the parents. It was more sort of like a little vibe from watching Netflix. So I asked about the divider. So my mind was open. It was only the more research that I did that made me start thinking none of this is adding up. It's not like you look. I even went through the credits of Royal Caribbean, their video of that actual cruise that Amy was on for that week. And I literally sat there and went through the staff one by one to see what I could find out about them. You know, sometimes you can just put a name into Google and something will come up. It will just spring out at you. And then I've found one of the videographers, he's got a 2-year gap in his work history. I can't remember if I passed that on to the FBI. I probably would have, because to me, he listed like 6 months, a span of 6 months work here, a span of 6 months work there, but he had a whole gap of 2 years after 98 working for Royal Caribbean. So it's not like, and he was actually on the cruise that Amy was on. It's not like I've just decided, I'm going to start saying that I think this family are scammers. I've looked into it. I've looked into that many different things, and it just all seems to come back to them. Now, like you say, I'm not saying that they've done anything to her. I don't even believe that she jumped or they suspected that she jumped, because I don't believe that any parents would be on a ship, think that their daughter could possibly be in the water and not run down and say, get a search out there. Remember, they know that Amy's a strong swimmer. So in their head, if you think there's a chance that your son or daughter has ended up in the sea, you are going to create such a noise to make sure that even if you thought they jumped, you're going to make sure that they search for them. So I'm not even going along them theories where they know that she jumped off. They know, I'm not even that. There's just something not right about this story. Full stop.
I want to interrupt. So yeah, I just saw somebody, and I won't say your name out loud just because I'm assuming by your most recent comment you don't want me to, but go ahead, ask your question. And I'm really curious at this. Now, I've gone as far as I have a cousin in Florida. Y'all can look him up. He was on cold case files. He's a veteran detective, lieutenant detective, and he solved 2 cold cases. I have been going through this with him, and even and he's going to be on a live this week to talk about what we looked into and all of that. He also agrees this is all suspicious and he's running with a narrative for a reason. There's something wrong with all of this.
I'd like to hear Ryan's question.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know. Sorry. So again, thanks for having me on. My big thing is, you guys know, right? Like, I have my own opinion, and I always respect everybody else's, and I still do.
I agree. Yeah.
I think my big thing is I think it's a Dawn soup. I just to be very clear, I never really kind of go against you on anything. I just kind of like listen. But my big thing is, it's not my opinion, right? It's like when I talked about the shoes, like I've heard people bring up, like, Grind is the one that mentioned the shoes. I just simply brought it up and like, hey, Brad, just wondering, and I just got Brad's response, and I've just been saying, hey, this is Brad's response. I've never said, I think, because I've heard some people mention, well, Grind believes him, and no, I'm just repeating what I was told. What's that?
Nobody here has. Nobody here on this panel.
It's not here. It's not here. It's not here. It's not here.
They got that guy on here. I'm on here. Don's is out here. They're about to eat him alive.
Yeah, no, it's not here. It's not here. It's other creators. But the reason I bring it up is because I'm just reiterating the information that I'm getting from them. I've never once said I believe X, I believe Y. I just simply report back what I was told.
I think the concern comes with, you got to remember, people, followers believe, and a lot of them, unfortunately, and they shouldn't, hang on our every word. But
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up. And let me ask you, what is your opinion on that shoe?
On the what?
Do you believe that they never saw them?
So my opinion on the shoes is, I don't know how you wouldn't see them or why you would make a statement.
I got to. I got to hear what this douchebag at least says.
And why am I a douchebag? Why did someone just call me a douchebag?
Oh, I'm sorry. My mic's on. I'm talking to my girlfriend in her car.
Oh, Jesus. I was like, what the hell?
I'm so sorry. Ignore me, guys.
So just wait, I just want to say the douchebag is not Grind.
I was like, damn.
No, Grind is not a douchebag. I'm talking to my girlfriend.
I was like, what the hell?
Sorry, Grind. Go on.
Moving on. No, to answer your question, I think Ivory asked it. To me personally, my professional opinion, being in law enforcement in the past, I don't know how you wouldn't have seen the shoes, because, and why would you say you saw them if you really didn't see them? So for me, it's like there is some skepticism there. But I was very clear, like, hey, this is what Brad said. That's why sometimes I'll share the message that I sent him and his response. But my personal opinion is, why would you say you saw them if you never actually saw them? That to me doesn't line up. It doesn't really add up. But maybe there's more information to it that I don't know about. But that's my opinion on it.
So now, you just said you're prior law enforcement. Let me ask you this. If that story did change from them having seen the shoes to now realizing they never actually saw the shoes, why do you think that could have changed? Could it benefit them in any way for the story to change?
I wouldn't look at it why it would change. I would look at it as, tell me why you said one thing and now it's this. Like, what evolved? How did this happen? Like, I wouldn't look at like a specific reason of why it changed. I'd want to hear from them. Well, when you said you saw them, then you said you didn't see them. Why did it take so long for you to realize
When you asked them that, what did they say?
When I asked him what?
Why it changed?
I didn't ask him why he changed. He just said the reason we told them or said that we saw them on the balcony was because cruise ship security and the attorneys were adamant they were on the balcony, but none of us ever saw them. He said, I asked my mom and dad, no one ever saw it. he said, I never knew about this realization. This is crazy. None of us ever saw it. And I said, okay. Like, and I just kind of like left it alone because, again, like, you know, like you can go back and forth with anybody, but I mean, they're only going to tell you what they're going to tell you. So even if I'm like, well, I don't know, and you know, can you tell me this? If they don't want to answer, they're not going to answer me. So I just kind of said, okay, you know, and that's why I always share the message on my live, because I'm like, hey, this is what was said. I don't know.
Ryan, can I ask you a question?
Hold on. I just want to put this point through. Why it's so significant to me that changed is because the Bradley family is really running with their narrative she was trafficked. That's it. That's the only one, right? And then the shoes being on the balcony could really be something that supports the fact that she either jumped or fell or was thrown, right? And because they're focused so much on that didn't happen, all of a sudden those shoes weren't there. It makes it look like she walked out of that room, because a lot of people are saying, well, the FBI said she didn't walk out of that room. So I feel like all of us first, the shoes being there, and now all of a sudden they weren't, really changes that narrative towards them. It makes it look like, well, with her shoes not there, she had them on, then she walked out of the room, or she didn't jump and she didn't. So again, I feel like, to me, that story changed to support their narrative, not because it was the truth. That's what I question.
Right. No, and I hear you.
And that's a valid question. Those are the questions you have to be asking everybody.
No, and that's valid, right? That's valid. There's things that I'll always ask Brad if it doesn't make sense. I asked him a couple of questions. I can't go into it right now, but he just said, hey, let's do a live because there's a lot of questions that keep getting asked. And I think actually, no, I'm sorry. I think the last thing I asked him was like, your dad, what time did he wake up? I heard he told Amy to shut off the light, but we didn't hear it anywhere else, but we're hearing it after the fact. And he's like, all right, let's go on a live and I'll answer the questions. So I think a lot of things, again, I'm stuck because a lot of things is, do you just not think to bring it up? Which again is not nefarious. You just didn't think of it, or is it purposely not bringing it up? And that's why I always try to challenge what I hear, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. It's not.
Brian, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, whatever you guys want.
Why did you block me on the live earlier?
So I didn't block you. That was probably my mods. But when I block people,
you blocked my entire profile. You've actually blocked my profile.
When it's muted and blocked on the live, they just mute it and block it.
No, you blocked me completely.
Okay, but again, I just said it wasn't me. It was probably my mods. But
so
again,
your mods can block people off your profile.
Yeah, when you're blocked from the live, it can block your profile. So that is okay.
So I don't do that. But here's the other thing. You guys know, I think Crime Talk, Ivory, maybe Hot Mess, maybe Sam and Ash, aka like you guys, like I see you, you'll comment, I'll see what you say. As long as I'm not feeling like I'm being attacked, like Don's, I will say with all due respect, a lot of times you just kind of like attack, so that's why I just don't respond. And I'm not being rude. I'm just like, that's how I feel about it. But I wouldn't block you on purpose. You know what I mean?
All I said in the live was, you was talking about the boyfriend. The boyfriend did a 5-hour interview with Netflix, and Netflix decided not to air it.
Correct.
So he clearly didn't care about his privacy because he was going to be on Netflix. So you said you're not going to say his name because of privacy.
Oh, no,
everyone's got families.
It's not him. You misunderstood. I was talking about Ashley Barnett's boyfriend, because I said the boyfriend doesn't deserve to get a name. I was talking about the girl, because there was two girls up on the line. His name is Tom that you're referring to. His name has been put out there many times. Amy's boyfriend or alleged boyfriend, whatever. But no, I was talking about somebody else.
Okay.
I think sometimes like Don's and I are just very forward, and I've told you this before, Grind, because you said that I can't remember what you called me, but we're just very forward and very straight, sometimes it comes off as harsh, but it's not necessarily meant that way. I think I cleared that up.
Yeah, no, and I know that. Like, I don't have anything against anyone on this forum or anyone in the comment section. Nothing at all. I think we're all looking for answers, and we all have our own opinion. But I respect everyone's opinion. It's just who I am. And Crime Talk, I know you're on the lives. I see you, and I'm very consistent. I go, guys, I don't talk about other creators. It's just not what I do. That's their opinion.
So Grind.
And that's it.
What's your opinion on Brad saying in July that they still have the reward, then saying in September that they don't?
Honestly, I didn't know about it. Crime Talk, is she talking about Crime Talk? Is she referring to the thing I said, like, when was this? Was this in October or September?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm in the car with my girlfriend, so I missed what she said. You say it
Yes,
again.
that's what she's referring to.
She was referring to that there was a reward in July,
yeah.
and then there was a reward in September, saying it was gone. Something like that. I didn't see it, Dawn's. The first time I saw it was on Crime Talk's post where she had a picture of Brad's message on X. I truly didn't see it. The only thing I said to Crime Talk was this in October? Because we're not in October yet, because it was a weird date. But I never heard about it. I truly never knew about it.
Now you do. What's your opinion on that?
I can't give you an opinion when I just heard about it. Like, I'm the type that has to look into it. I don't know enough to comment. And I do that even on my lives. I say, guys, I don't know enough about it to say anything. And I truly don't know enough about it to say anything. And I don't mean that to be rude. I just don't.
Yeah. Have you clarified the date? Did you check Brad's X?
So I don't have X. The date I was referring to is when Crime Talk posted it. It came in like backwards. It looked like it was 10/9/2025, but it was actually like September 10th. It was weird. So that's what I mean. Like, I didn't know what it was, and I just kind of like laughed, and she laughed, and that was it. Like, I didn't look into it enough to give you an opinion.
So I ask you, Grind, have you looked into this whole case and did a deep dive yourself?
I did.
And can I ask you, what have you found? Like, what do you have to, at some point you form an opinion. You have to figure out which route you're going to go, which is going to cause you to continue going. So can I ask you, what is your opinion on the whole thing?
Yeah, so if you guys remember before the old account got hacked, I was like, really like, Ron, why are you doing this? Brad, why did you lie? Like, I was very against them. And then it pivoted. And it wasn't that my opinion changed. It was more the fact that I said, you know what, I got to look at this with an open mind. Like, for example, I've been saying lately, Crime Talk, you've seen it. I'm like, guys, Yellow's not the guy. Like, everyone keeps pointing at this guy. He's not the guy. Like, I don't know why. That's why I don't put any videos out about it anymore. I'm like, he's not the guy. So for me, the opinion to answer you, Ivory, is it's more open-minded. I want to see all avenues of it. I know a lot of people are pointing at the family, but to me, and I don't know who's going to agree with this, but if we point to the family, that's fine. Like, anyone can do what they want. But at the end of the day, if we point at the family, then what happened to Amy? If we point to Yellow, okay, what happened to Amy? If we point to any trafficking, then what happened to Amy? Like, for me, I'm keeping an open mind because I want to know what happened to Amy. I don't care who's responsible for it, because none of us truly know who's actually responsible. But that's why I'm keeping an open mind.
But you do have to start looking at things. So you've got Brad belly aching that Yellow's a big liar and he's never stopped lying. Yep. Whereas we can just see that Yellow's really just got his times wrong, which he doesn't know Amy. He knew her for a couple of hours. 27 years later, you don't expect him to have a clear time frame.
Right.
Whereas Brad, and I don't think anybody who's actually sat and watched all of the interviews, all of the documentaries, nobody can actually say that he hasn't got a lot of inconsistencies.
No, what you're saying is not wrong. But can I challenge you real quick?
Where are we going?
Yeah.
And again, respectfully, right? So this is how my brain works. So you just said, well, Yellow, they're pointing at Yellow because his timeline changed once, but it was, a long time ago. Well, so did Ron's timeline, but everyone's pointing at the family. And again, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to make a connection. That's all.
Right. Amy is Ron's daughter. So my brother died when he was 19.
Yep.
My story about that has never changed. It's never changed because the story that I told in the beginning was the truth. So I understand what you're saying. Now, I've got friends whose family have died. I couldn't tell you I could tell you like the initial day, but I couldn't tell you in great detail.
That's normal.
So you have to understand that Yellow isn't expected to remember. Either Brad and Ron are expected to remember. Brad expects Yellow to have it burned into his brain what time he was woken up at 27 years ago. Yet Brad doesn't even remember if there was divers in the search for Amy.
Right. But just like you just said, Ron
No.
couldn't remember what time he woke up. Remember, he said 5:30. Then we heard it was 4:30. I mean, to me, I'm looking at the same thing. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and you said they're
The
expected to
time,
remember, but that's different.
say if it's 4:35, just leave the time out.
Yep.
Let's look at the important things, like the water search.
Yep.
Brad doesn't remember if there was divers in the water search. Genuinely,
If you're
have
checking
you ever...
the ship and you're looking around, you're not going to know that. That's that's valid stuff. Like I wouldn't know either.
Right. You would know that because you'd be asking. If there's a chance your family member is in the water, your focus would be on what they are doing in the water.
Right.
And honestly, think about it. You know they're searching the water. You're going to be asking, what are they doing? Have they got divers down there? And a lot of times in a water search, when people take when the divers come out, there's a lot of anger saying the divers have been called off. They want the divers back in. They want them in longer. Some families pay for divers to continue the search.
Right.
My cousin was found in water, and I remember that search like it was yesterday. And now I wasn't even in the same country when it was happening, but I was having updates. I know there was divers. I know everything about it. The fact that Brad doesn't know if there was divers in that water search, come on, let's be real. That's not normal.
So what you're saying is not wrong. However, whether he didn't know about the divers, whether him or Ron doesn't have their timelines lined up, how does that make them guilty of something nefarious with Amy?
Right. So have you heard me say that they're guilty of something nefarious?
Nope. I'm asking you, why would they be found guilty?
Right. So what I'm saying is the story doesn't make sense. What they have said makes no sense.
But I agree. However, how does that make them guilty? And I know you're saying I didn't say they did.
Guilty of what? Guilty of what? Because we don't know what's happened, do we? The only people that can tell us the truth is the family.
Well, I mean, I think there's more people that can tell the truth. But I think where I'm going with this is, you're not saying anything wrong, but you're kind of dodging my question. Is like you guys are pointing at the family because things are changing.
Well, no, you're saying that
I'm just trying to understand how that makes them guilty. That's all I'm saying.
You're saying that we're pointing at the family and we're making them guilty. You're not listening to what I'm saying. We don't know what's happened to her. So how can we be saying that they're guilty if we don't know what's happened?
Correct. I said that. I get it. But we're all but I'm trying to understand why this
once you start looking into it and you start seeing all the inconsistencies, then what do? You've got a family the family normally...
Are you still there?
I think a lot of it, for me, from my opinion, and I'm not as versed as all you guys are in this case, is asking questions and then getting like attacked for it because of seeing maybe some inconsistencies in it. But I don't think I've seen anybody point a definite finger and go, well, you're responsible, but there's questions that aren't adding up. That's just in my opinion. That's all I had to say about that.
And I agree. I don't think anything anybody is saying is wrong here at all. And she's right? None of us know actually what happened. And I agree with what she's saying because there's some things that, have changed. But I think the question I have is whether we believe they're guilty or not, or they know more, they don't know more. None of us truly know.
Right. So the story that they've told can't be true. It can't be real. Because if it was true, it wouldn't change. Like Brad says. It's like, Brad said it out of his own mouth.
I hear you, but I also mentioned the thing about, how Yellow changed his story, and you said, no, that's different. And again, I'm not pointing the finger at anybody.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to make
can I ask you something? Have you ever lost a member of your family unexpectedly?
Yes.
Right. Do you remember that? Was it like mum, dad, brother, whoever?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Was it a brother, sister? Like what I'm asking
it was a distant cousin.
Okay. I'm sure anybody who has lost a brother or sister at a young age, their story will never change, because it's deep in your brain what happened. It's deep.
It might be deep, but again, people, and this is not me saying that, you know, I'm believing anybody. What I'm saying is when you're faced with something traumatic, things can change. Now, I'm not saying change negatively.
Right. So
I'm not saying
so
change
the
negatively.
lawsuit wasn't traumatic, was it?
The what?
The lawsuit, that wasn't traumatic, was it?
Well, it didn't happen right then and there. I'm talking about what happened on the
right.
Like,
okay. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on from the trauma, and I'm going to move on to the lawsuit. The lawsuit wasn't traumatic, was it?
Again, when I'm talking trauma, I'm talking trauma of when it all happened. You're bringing up the lawsuit.
So what I want to do is I want to move on from that, because we're not going to get anywhere with that. So I'm going to move on to the lawsuit. The lawsuit wasn't traumatic, was it?
You keep asking the same question. I'm going to keep giving the same answer.
So I just want
trauma
I
and
just
lawsuit
want
are two different things.
Yeah. So yes, I know that, and I'm moving on. So I'm moving
away.
I
don't think we're getting anywhere with this.
Okay.
You're asking me about.
So we won't get anywhere unless you. Right. Okay. So the lawsuit wasn't traumatic. The lawsuit was dismissed for fraud on the court. They hid over 100 witnesses. They only gave 3, all showing Amy under duress. They failed to give the security report to the court that they were asked for by Royal Caribbean, that Royal Caribbean had given to them. Brad sat on a live a few weeks ago saying it was dismissed on a technicality.
Yep.
And that they handed all of the information in. Yet the transcripts show Ron explaining why they didn't hand them in. So, explain that then. Is that trauma?
So it's not trauma, but that's something I don't know because I didn't get into it. I didn't look into it. I didn't even hear that interview. And again, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I think that's the other problem is that.
No, you can't say it didn't happen because it did.
No. I can't say what was said and what wasn't said. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't.
Well, if you want to have a look, you can have a look on my profile because I've posted it. So Brad clearly said it was a technicality. They tried to say that we didn't hand in all of the witness details. He mentioned so many pounds of paper. They handed in every bit of information that they had. Yet the transcripts clearly show out of over 100 witnesses, they only submitted 3. Ivor was given the opportunity to add, and she said she has nothing further to add. Then they didn't give the security report either. So Brad's saying that they gave every bit of information when the transcripts clearly show what Ron said as an excuse for not giving it in, just shows. To me, I'm sorry, there comes a point where you can't keep turning a blind eye to so many things. So I understand what you're talking about trauma. I still don't agree with you. I've been through it. I don't agree with that.
Dons, I gotta say, you might not agree, and that's fine. But not everyone deals with trauma the same way. You keep saying I don't agree with it because I went through it.
So leave that. So what do you think of this lawsuit?
So when it comes down to the lawsuit, my question to you is, did they have a lawyer?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They had 2. They had 2.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I didn't interrupt.
Midway through.
I didn't interrupt you. Please don't interrupt me. So all I'm saying is they had a lawyer.
Yes, they did.
If you've ever been in any form of court appearance, lawsuit related, you do not speak. Yeah. They speak. The attorney speaks. Now, I will say this, because I know what you're thinking. They're only going to speak about what the family says. Like, they're not going to lie. Like, if the family says don't do something, then they won't do it. Like, that I understand. We don't know. But none of us know.
No, can I explain something?
1 second.
Let me finish.
One second.
They did deep.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Let him finish.
No, because what you're saying isn't true.
No. I never once said, hey, 1 second, please. Come on. I'm being respectful to you. I never once said they were lying or something wasn't said or something wasn't true. I didn't say that. I said that they have an attorney. And I said, they speak through the attorney. And I said, yes.
No, they didn't.
They only say what they're told to say.
No, they didn't.
Okay, you're not letting me, Dawn, you're not letting me finish.
Let him finish.
I'm trying to finish my statement. Hold on, please. It'll make sense if you give me about 12 seconds. They have an attorney. They speak directly through the attorney. Now, could they tell the attorney?
Yes, but they didn't.
Please. I don't want to.
Right, I'm just trying to explain.
I
Go
know,
and
but
read the
I'm not.
transcripts.
I'm not
Go
gonna.
and read the
John,
transcripts.
let him finish and then you can rebuttal.
It's a civil case. They did depositions. They were questioned for hours. It wasn't through the attorney. It wasn't the attorney that told them not to hand in the details. Ron chose not to.
All right,
It's in the transcripts. You can read them.
let's do it one at a time. Everybody mute and let's let him talk.
Grind, go and read the transcripts. Go and read them so you understand what happened.
So, Dons, I think this is why there's such a disconnect with a bunch of like different creators, and everyone's been great, but like you won't even let me speak, and I'm trying to be as respectful and patient. I just want to just say what I got to say, and I'm listening to you, but I got to ask you: are you going to let me finish my statement?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Whether they had an attorney, we do know they had one. I understand it was civil. What I'm saying is typically they speak directly through an attorney. Yes, they could probably tell the attorney, hey, you know, don't say this, whatever. The attorney's going to do what they're told, what they're being paid to do, 100%. But at the same time, yes, I know about the depositions. What are your thoughts on it being bad legal advice? Because legally, if Ron wants to say, I'm not handing this in, whatever it might be, again, if the attorney is there, the attorney is the one that's supposed to know better. They hired that attorney for a reason. So my question to you is, could it potentially be, and I want to be clear, I'm not saying, you know, they're off scot-free here. Your opinion only. Is there a chance that the attorney gave bad legal advice?
So can I answer that?
Sure.
Did he report them to the board, to the bar? Because he's got.
I don't know.
You really have to think about it, though. He's around a lot of attorneys. He's best friends with an attorney, or before the man passed. So this man is well into the attorney thing. If he thought for 1 second that that lawyer was doing something that wasn't legal, listen, this is the answer to the question, and you're giving the wrong answer, and you're trying to fight the wrong answer. But I'm trying to tell you this is the actual information, and they should have been reported to the bar.
I agree with you, Ivory. I don't think what you're saying is wrong.
So,
but I agree. But
if you're going to put it on if you're going to put it on the poor legal, then he should have responded to the poor legal. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. And again, I don't think what you're saying is wrong. I think if it was actual bad legal advice and something was thrown out or you were accused of perjury, I think there's someone that should be reported to the bar for that 100%. I completely and utterly agree with you.
And that would be
Can I ask a question?
Step for people.
Say it again, Ivory. I'm sorry.
You would think that would be the natural next step.
No, 100%. Like I think that's where it should have gone. But again, I don't know. But for me, I don't dig into it as like you just did, right? Like why weren't they reported to the bar? Why didn't this happen when it happened? Because the way I look at it is, to me, the lawsuit is irrelevant to the fact that Amy's missing. That's how my brain works, though. It doesn't mean that you guys are wrong.
I think for me, because I did look into that and I did ask myself that question about could it possibly be. I look at all angles. I don't stick with one narrative. And in order to get the honest response that you're looking for, you got to look at everything and ask yourself who's on the opposite side. So I agree with you there. Now, my whole thing is, while the case itself and the civil lawsuit may have nothing to do with Amy's disappearance, the honesty is a big deal. The fact that they may not have told the truth, because if they were telling the truth and they were trying to answer those questions honestly, they would have handled that accordingly. And again, this is a family around a lot of lawyers. So the fact that they did it makes me question their honesty. And if they're not telling the truth in a lawsuit under oath, then that makes you question what else are they not telling the truth about. Now, when you're sitting there and you're looking into an investigation and a story changes and inconsistencies, now 1 or 2 things happen. But when everything is inconsistent, you're trying to change a narrative 27 years after the fact, and that narrative that you're trying to change is being forced to push your narrative, that's what I question. Now, when you look into everything with this entire case, everything that everybody is hanging on has gone through the Bradley family and come out of their mouths. The only things that we had, the timelines, which have changed, can only be verified, only heard through the Bradley family's word of mouth, what they've said. And see, that's the problem here, is that do we know for a fact that Ron saw her at 5:30? everyone is basing everything off that timeline. We don't know that that happened.
So the way that I would do it in my investigations was you would have one set of information, which in this case, the Bradley set. Then we would need other sets of information to either verify or go against the information that we already have. And right now, we don't have anything that goes against it. Meaning, we don't have people on the cruise that said, no, that didn't happen. This happened, or no, this is what we have on camera. We have nothing. We only have the Bradley statements. And you're right. That's all we have. But I also don't think it's, number one, I don't think it's right that we point the finger at Yellow. Like, I don't think that's fair. Just, because we don't.
If there was some proof or some concrete evidence, but there's none.
No, I agree with you.
Say from a girl who wasn't born, who obviously has a vendetta against and is angry at her dad, as, oh, my father came home with a suitcase full of pictures. If you can't back it up, it can't be considered.
Well, one thing I've been saying, and I don't know if Crime Talk was listening at that point, but a lot of people keep asking about Amika because she was on my live. And what I've been saying is she wasn't born. She's hearing everything from her mom. She's not hearing it directly from her dad or seeing it from her dad. She's hearing things second, third, and fourth hand. Right. And that's why we've kind of moved on from that. And I said, nothing against her, but it's second, third, and fourth hand. Like, we don't know how.
Not credible enough to take into consideration.
Right. So we've moved on from that. So, like, usually a lot of times that's how I'll do it. Same thing with Yellow. Everyone keeps pointing the finger at Yellow, and I just keep saying, guys, he's not the guy. Even if he's involved, like, we need more concrete evidence that proves that he's involved. And I've already said it with the girls, the Lori and Crystal, the college girls. One girl specifically doesn't even want to talk. She doesn't want to talk about it anymore. And the other one, I know that there was speculation that she was like, well, I wasn't sure if it was like 6 o'clock or like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, did they give statements at the grand jury? And I hear yes, I hear no. So I'm like, okay, we can't even take that. So at the end of the day, if we don't have those two witnesses that point to them being with Yellow or Amy being with Yellow, then we got to take Yellow out of our mouth.
Thank you.
But I've said that live. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that you haven't.
No, I know. That was just me getting fired up, Ivory. That's all. That's something
I completely agree with that. But again, this is the basis that everyone is throwing accusations. And, before they even, she wasn't sure, before she even said that, my concern with that was it went through the Bradleys first.
Right.
And then you have to worry about insinuations and influence in their emotional state, and people changing a story because they want to be emotionally there for the family. Right. So none of it is credible. None of what the Bradley family is putting out there as so-called proof to this trafficking theory is credible.
Well, Ivory, it's hearsay, right? If you have two witnesses, college girls, that say we saw him with her, and then one girl says I don't want to speak. Well, now we only have one person. Well, that's speculation at that point. There's no real credibility there, and that's why on live, I'm like, we have to have a conversation with Lori and Sandy and Brad. We got to ask these questions. We got to know because you know what I mean?
And I feel like the Bradleys are getting defensive because we're asking the questions. And again, when you look into investigations, and you have to admit this as law enforcement, okay?
Yep.
The Bradley families cannot be pushed aside yet. They just can't as suspects. They're automatically suspects, just like Yellow is, just like everybody else is.
Everyone's a suspect, Ivory. That's normal. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not saying everyone technically is a person of interest is probably the best way I should have said it. Not a suspect. Right. Everybody is a person of interest no matter what. If you are close by, if you're on the ship, if you have a connection, you are a person of interest. And we all know it doesn't take an ex-cop to say it's always the family, the spouse, people closest to the victim that's always looked at first. And that's okay. Like, that's normal, But I think at the end of the day, none of us, you, me, Dawn, Sam, Ash, Crime Talk, none of us have the real information because none of us was really there.
Right.
It sucks.
And that right there is the concern with their narrative.
Right.
And the fact that they're pushing this narrative and then bullying people. Okay, people can sit there and say that I'm a bully. I speak my mind, and I'm an educated woman, and I make sure that what I say, I've looked into and can validate. I don't ever speak nonsense.
Right.
Okay? So the fact that I was sitting there, and in the beginning, I never accused the family. I still don't keep saying, I don't think they did anything malicious to her. However, the fact that they're going after creators who don't push their narrative is really concerning because you have to say, without a doubt, all of the possibilities are exactly that, a possibility.
That's all it is, Ivory. It's a possibility. Like I think, and I can't speak for Brad about this, but I think like it's a safe comment to say, you know, he might be taking it personal when people are like, hey, like, you know, something, you know, you've changed what you said. He might be taking it personal, and he has to remove the emotion and the personal take that he's getting on that and understand, dude, like, this is social media. This is 2025. Like, if you say something wrong or you change something, people are going to start asking questions, but you've got to be open to that. You can't just be yelling at people and bullying them. And I've said that in not so many words. Like, not everyone's going to agree, you know, but it is what it is. I've seen him getting a little bit better about that. I mean, you may disagree, but I've seen him get a little bit better about that. But like you said, like, none of us truly know. Like, that's the hardest part. We all want answers for Amy, but none of us truly know. And it sucks.
But I think that everybody needs to be open to all of the possibilities.
I agree with you.
At the end of the day, we're all really trying to find the truth about what happened to Amy Bradley. Are we going to social media? Possibly not, although it's happened. Okay.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you're either going to coddle the family and try and, you know, take emotion into it, which should never be brought into it, and coddle them and push a false narrative or push a narrative that's the least plausible. Let's be real. Statistically speaking, again, you've done the homework. It is the least plausible possibility.
Right. No, I agree with you.
So,
I do that. No, you're right. You're right. And
you have
again,
to,
you know, I just before I go, because I know this is I hate doing this because this is not my live. But before I go, you know, again, thanks for, you know, taking a few minutes with me. I think Don's gone. But just know, you, Ivory, everyone that's listening, even the forum, right? Like, we're not against each other here. We're just trying to find answers. I'm not against anybody. We all talk kind of like offline, right? Like, I'm not against anybody. I like everybody, and I just want answers. That's what it comes down to. I'm not married to one narrative versus the other. I just want to find answers. That's what it comes down to.
I don't think you've ever acted like you are against any of us. I don't think you've ever said anything rude or anything towards us. Other creators have, but you haven't.
Yeah, no, I got, listen, we're all here for the same reason, and I can't control what other people say and do.
Honest and thinking.
Sorry, Ever, I think I talked over you. Go ahead.
Oppositional opinions just keep us all honest and thinking.
Can I say one last thing? It's kind of like I think it's very relevant. Real quick, I promise, 20 seconds. I was at my daughter's curriculum night last night, and she's taking a humanities class, and the teacher said, we're teaching the students how to respectfully disagree and accept other people's opinions and know that you got to respectfully accept them. Like, you don't have to believe them, but you respectfully have a debate, you have a conversation, you might not agree, but you do it in a respectful way, and that's it. And I was sitting there listening to the teacher speak, and I'm like, not you guys, but I'm like, did the world lose touch of just basic 6th grade humanities?
Exactly.
We should be able to just disagree.
Yes.
You know?
I agree with that. You know what I mean? And again, I think that, you know, the Bradleys need to take a piece of that as well. Don't come after people because we're trying to find the truth. I just want to put that out there.
No,
we're not
100%.
Amy's because we're all team Amy Bradley.
Right. And
no,
I appreciate it. And Ivory, thanks again for, you know, I know this is your live, but thanks again for letting me come up. And everyone on the side here, Sam, Ash, Crime Talk, Hot Mess, and even Don's. Thanks for chatting with me this morning.
Yeah, thanks. Dawn, Grind, Dawn wants to know if you can unblock her. Maybe.
Yeah, again, I didn't even know. So yeah, I can do that.
Thank you for coming
You're
up
welcome.
too. I appreciate it.
No problem. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Guys, I just wanted to take a second, and if Dawn's is still here in the chat, Dawn's, I would love for you to please come back up. I was really interested in hearing what you had to say about the court cases. And guys, if you don't follow Dawn's, like, go give her a follow. She is so smart.
Videos.
Oh my God, she's so smart. She will break this down for you guys. But Dawn's, please come back. I would love to hear you finish.
She should be a private investigator herself, I think.
Yes. I think she lies to me when she says she's not one.
She's so smart. I absolutely love hearing her speak.
I did send Dawn a invite.
I think the problem is when, and I find myself being guilty of the same thing as Dawn's. You're so passionate and you see so much that nobody wants to speak on out of fear of it's, it might make the family for a second in the hot spot, or, you know what I mean? And it's really frustrating, especially in the true crime world. And you just heard Grind admit it. Yeah, the family is still, I'll use the term he did, people of interest.
Yeah.
Right? And so us asking the questions that are sound for an investigation should not be defensive, and then they come defensive. But all I'm asking the Bradley family to do is answer the questions that we're asking. Like, you don't have to come mean, you don't have to come nasty, but we have questions and we're just asking you for answers.
Yeah, well, and
if there's nothing, if there's
the same, it should be no problem to answer those questions respectfully.
Right. So, the inconsistencies, the stuff that, we're asking, just answer the questions. Because if you have nothing to do with it, you don't know more, or you're not purposely trying to push a narrative, then you should have no problem honestly answering the question. And then maybe you will be pushed aside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, because the avoidance and the aggression further pushes the narrative that something fishy is going on with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't want people to think there's something fishy going on, and you say there is nothing fishy going on, don't act fucking fishy. I don't know.
Now, I listened to what Don's and Grind were just talking about with the lawsuit, and Don's was right. And I get what Grind was saying with, then wouldn't it be on the lawyer? But then what did he do? We know that their family friends are lawyers. We know that he was friends with English B, who was a lawyer, Earl Nance, who's a lawyer, right? We know that they're around lawyers all the time. Now, they may not have been the ones to do the case for them, but yeah. You mean to tell me nobody told you to report him to the bar if he didn't do what was... You either went with a lie and let the lawyer do it, or the lawyer lied and you didn't report him, which is bad.
Yeah, position situation, they had to go along with it. I've been deposed.
Yeah, I know. So have I. I agree. So, you know what I mean? Like, those are the questions. Those are the questions. And so, again, Sandy Ann, Brad, all of these people, then answer the questions. They sat there for so long saying, oh, I said I would come to you. No, you never did. Can you show the message, Sandy Ann, where you sat there and invited me on a live to discuss it and have a civilized conversation? Can Brad Bradley show the message, the DM, where he approached me and said, you know what? You're not an ignorant ant. Let's talk, Miss Ivory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, I invite them all over here anytime, just to answer the questions. And you're more than welcome to shoot me down in what I say, because if you can, then I'm thinking the wrong way. I am not opposed to being, show me something that I haven't already seen. Please change my mind.
Yeah.
Show me what you think you see.
Well, at the end of the day, it's about Amy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if it's about Amy and you want her to be found and you have something that you need to say about that and it's important, then come up here and talk about it.
That's the same thing with, other listen, my name is, unfortunately, my name is constantly in creators' mouths, and this wasn't to Grind. There's another creator out there who wanted to sit there and say that I was bullying the family. Now, I'm going to be respectful and not call them out. However, I'm sure most of you know who that was. But if you're going to sit there and make a statement like that, a slanderous statement like that, then come debate me. Come tell me how I'm bullying anybody, because I'm asking questions that are uncomfortable.
Well, absolutely. And that goes for anybody, in the chat. If you feel that way, if you feel some type of way about this and you want to talk about it, this is a respectful room to have a debate, and, we ask that you give the same respect too. So request a box.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it too is you don't want these questions being asked, but you agreed to help Netflix make this documentary and then go off of that and put the GoFundMe out and all this, that, and the other. So these questions are going to be asked, whether they're comfortable or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you can't fault people for being curious. You can't.
And I thought we were looking for Amy and not trying to prove trafficking. Like, I thought we were just trying to figure out what happened to Amy. But it seems like we're trying to prove that she was trafficked.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that, in my opinion, is deflection. Like, what are you doing? Because you're not trying to get to the bottom of it. You're going with some wild ass theory that has no evidence to back it.
So again, I know that there's people in here watching, and anybody who wants to be, because I see you all in my comments. I read all of my comments. I get the DMs. I get all of it. So again, come up and debate me. Come up and have a civilized conversation if you think that I'm so wrong or for what I'm saying. I welcome anybody to come up here and talk. Don't hide behind a page with, no face. Then be civilized. Come up here and let's talk about it. And that's the problem that people don't. And it's really, for a true crime case and true crime niche, this one is very concerning because, man, I've never seen people not question.
Yeah.
Not ask the questions, not want to debate, not want to talk about it. Everyone is so gung-ho that she was trafficked. Well, come on up here and let's talk about it.
I love Mariah's comment in the chat. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
She said as long as there is a GoFundMe, they should not have problems with people asking anything.
Well, and that's another thing. People want to sit there and be like, well, why would they bring this up? They've been doing multiple documentaries. Netflix was going to do that documentary with or without the Bradleys. That came out of Brad Bradley's mouth. That is not me saying that. That came out of Brad Bradley's mouth. He wasn't the one who was looking for his sister and decided to go to Netflix. Decided to go to the producers and make this documentary.
And that's as said on Google, he worked closely. The family worked very closely with Netflix to produce this Netflix documentary.
Right. And again, I would have loved to seen the documentary without their narrative, without them there. Because, let's be real. If you're an investigative journalist and you're sitting here trying to make a documentary, do your homework. Let's see what you got. I'm just curious to see what people have without the Bradleys in there.
I'm convinced that the only real investigative journalists are TikTok true crime creators at this point.
That's I'm extremely disappointed.
Well, some of them.
Because I feel like, and I have been in cases where they're talking about kids, and I've never seen people try to defend something. Why do you have to defend the Bradleys if there's nothing wrong there? If everything they're saying is true, why do you feel the need to defend them? Just let them answer.
Yeah.
That right there is concerning to me, the fact that you won't answer the questions that we're asking.
And if they don't know, why not say, I'm not sure, I don't remember, and leave it at that instead of going at an attack? Because obviously it's not solved. Anything's possible that could happen. So let's dig in and try to help find out and get some justice for Amy. Nobody's pointing
on the wall.
Yeah, nobody's pointing that you're doing it.
Rachel,
you did it.
I see you in here, but is finding out what happened to Amy Bradley have anything to do with sincerity of the family? What makes them so sincere? Their search for her? Absolutely. Well, please come up and enlighten me and tell me the sincerity.
I'll send you an invite. Hold on.
Guys, speak. Don't sit there. If you're going to sit there and put the comments in there, then come back it up. What was so sincere about everything they've done? And I'm not trying to be a jerk. That's an honest question, because again, are you out here 27 years later because it can get you a quick buck? Because what have you done for 27 years? People keep saying, well, they've investigated. They said they investigated. Well, okay, well, what'd you do?
It doesn't look like they did anything until Netflix came back out.
For God's sake,
or came out.
Went back to the island.
And again, I've never pushed that they tossed her overboard. But I do question what they know.
So
and
we're just
why they're pushing this theory with Yellow so hard. And that is a logical question to have. Everybody should be questioning that. Not because you feel bad for the family. They're sincere. They're so sweet. Look at Iva. She's cute as a button. No, ask the question. Why are they pushing that narrative so hard? And they can say, well, it's because they believe it, but why do they believe it? What makes them believe it? The lack of credible evidence? I mean, it's a gut feeling. Well, we don't find Amy Bradley on gut feelings, Rachel. I'm not trying to be mean or rude, but you don't find Amy Bradley on gut feelings. That's not logical.
I mean, my family knew Ted Bundy and thought he was, before they knew all this, thought he was a real quiet, nice guy. And guess what? Their gut feeling on that quiet, nice guy was absolutely wrong. Wrong.
Look at Rebecca Harrow. When she sat there and did her initial interview, do you know how many people felt bad for her? Oh, this poor mom, look at her. Oh my gosh, why are we doing this? Now she's charged. It's, I just need people to think logically. And I get Don's, I really do, because I get the passion behind it. I get the frustration that you can't answer some simple questions. I'm ignorant because I asked you a question and you can't or don't want to answer it. And then you get mad because I'm suspect to the fact that you won't answer the simple question I asked. I need people just open their eyes. Are you coddling the family, or are you actually looking for the truth about what happened to Amy Bradley?
I think at this point, a lot of people are afraid to speak out against them.
Well, yeah. Yeah, they've been reporting, and that's another thing. Don't sit there and say that I'm a bully when I have been reported. I have been demonetized. I have had, they went to TikTok on me. Listen, don't. Because I'm sitting here, shadow banned as hell, literally fighting with TikTok right now because they're trying to take my page but can't prove to me why. Having to get my legal team for my business involved, and they can't say why they're disqualifying my videos or coming after me because of complaints of bullying and harassment, none of which have been bullying and harassment. That right there is a big red flag. Why are people who are just really looking for the truth such a threat when we are in fact keeping her name and her picture and the story out there?
Can I address Rachel in the chat real quick?
Go ahead.
So if we're talking about sincerity, Rachel, and you're saying that there's no reason to speak against the Bradley family, I'm going to offer you my perspective as a queer woman. My reason for speaking out about the Bradley family, and this is just me personally, this is my opinion, my thoughts, my feelings, the homophobic posts on his Twitter prior to the documentary about Amy being released, you can't tell me that that's someone who made his sister feel safe. You can't tell me that's someone that his sister trusted to be herself around. Why would he not post about his missing sister, but he would be trolling transgender and gay and lesbian people on the internet? That's my reason.
It speaks a lot to his character. Like I know he's out there going, it didn't matter. Her sexuality didn't matter. It does matter for the simple fact that you're disrespecting the community in which she belonged, and that really says a lot. Where's the sincerity? Is that sincere?
Is it really sincere, Rachel?
Your own emotion into your opinion. No, I'm not. Do you really think it's sincere when he's out there saying, I want to find my sister, I loved her, we completely accepted her, but you don't accept the community in which she belonged? No.
Yeah, you want to feed Rosie O'Donnell to sharks.
Emotions. That's not emotions either. That's proven fact that is on his Twitter. That's not opinion. That's how he feels. And what's funny is he's never posted prior to July 17th about Amy. And what's weird is they have focused a lot on Amy's sexuality. They brought it up to make sure that they knew that Amy had a boyfriend, this, that, and the other. And come to find out, you know, she's a bi or lesbian. And then he's posting this hurtful shit on Twitter.
Whose behaviors show he's not as sincere as you all are taking him.
Yeah. Facts over feeling. The fact is, he posted that. The fact is, Amy was lesbian bi. The fact is, he'd never posted prior to July 17th of 2025 on his Twitter for years about finding his sister. It only came out after the documentary came out and a GoFundMe pops up.
All in preparation for the documentary to go off.
So where's the sincerity?
Hold on. Sincerity has nothing to do with your social opinion. So elaborate on that, please, Rachel.
Rachel, can you please just come up because...
You're sitting there saying, oh, but they're sincere, and that's why we should believe the theory? Are they really sincere?
Fucking wild. I'm sorry, Rachel. That's fucking wild. And I would be concerned to find out what else you're believing in your life as you go along on this journey. I'm concerned for you.
Sincerity is when you speak your truth. And so what is truth? His behaviors or his words? Which one is sincere? Which one do we believe is sincere? His behaviors, public behaviors, or his public words? Which one is it? Which one is the sincere part? Because you're saying it's the part that he's, where he speaks about his sister, but I take his sincerity as being what he's posting and his behaviors.
Yeah, that's a giant red flag. I mean, that's part of, if you're not going to answer questions and call people ignorant asses and report their pages and have another talking piece, making videos and putting out false crime reports about somebody, and you look at their Twitter and there's a factual evidence of this, I'm going to ask every single question under the sun because you're looking real suspicious in my opinion.
We don't want to accuse people of being paid to do this, guys. I'm really curious. Like, I really would love to have a conversation with you, Rachel. Because for me, it just sounds like you're backing everything. You're not really looking for Amy. You just feel bad for the family.
She's a troll, y'all. She's a troll. She's in the comments talking about why so mad. Like, if you can't come up and have a decent conversation with people, you're a troll.
What Rachel's actually showing is we're able to bring out the opinions so people are aware of who Brad Bradley is, who Amy Bradley is, and maybe there's a certain factor in between that people can take away and make their own choices and decisions and start researching more instead of going off of every single word Brad Bradley says because it's being debunked every time she talks. So that's okay.
I need people to understand that you are taking the word of a man whose story changes to fit his narrative. Nobody can tell me there's not inconsistencies. I would love you to argue that with me, because there absolutely has been. And people are trying to defend these. Oh, the time difference. There are inconsistencies, period, point blank. Okay, the fact that they're changing their story, you want to call it a lie and not lie, it doesn't make any sense. All of it just to fit their narrative. There are the facts that we know are that she was on that shit. She danced with Yellow. She chatted with Yellow. So did Brad, though. Right? You knew Yellow. You didn't pick up the fact that he might have been a little off and you left your sister with him? Okay? We don't know for a fact she ever made it even back to the cabin. Because again, 2 card swipes, 3 people went back. You don't know who used her card. There's very little that we know to be fact. You can't go on what their witness statements are because they're not credible. You can't even go on the word of the Bradleys because they're not credible at this point. Oh, we saw her at 5:30. We saw her at 4:30. Well, that makes a big difference when you're out to sea. I'm just saying, if you all want to talk timelines. So again, the story has changed to fit their narrative. Nothing they say to me is credible when looking for Amy Bradley. It can't be. That's a fact. Because your story changed. Regardless of which version is the truth, the fact that it changed and you can't remember correctly and you don't know what's fact from not fact makes you not credible with what you're saying. So none of what you're saying can be put forth into trying to find Amy, into this investigation. That's fact.
Yep.
Your story and the inconsistencies just make you not credible. Now, does that mean that you did something to her? No. It just means you're not credible. That's it. Period, point blank. Because of the inconsistencies and because of the change in their story, they are not credible. That's a fact. I need people to understand that if you are truly looking for Amy Bradley, you have to admit that. Because of that, whether it was malicious or not, the Bradley family is not credible. They are no longer credible.
Are we fighting a Donald Trump?
And that's not being mean. That's just me that's the truth. Nothing they say is now credible. They lost their credibility.
Yeah, because it's all inconsistencies. It's, to me,
How are the Bradley family out here telling you that they're running off this narrative because of what Crystal and Lori said, but their story has changed too, and they even admitted they're not sure what they saw. So then, again, not credible because you didn't even validate your own witnesses.
well, and we can
Say
also,
something they didn't say.
yeah, and I think of it this way too. Casey Anthony comes out with a new documentary, right? And the directors are going to made her look normal. I know, Casey Anthony's guilty. Just because she gives a good story and there's not it's not hard evidence, doesn't mean that people haven't come up with their conclusions that are probably 99% correct. And I'm not saying Brad or any of them are guilty of anything. I'm just saying,
they're guilty of being not credible.
Yeah. And we know Casey Anthony's not credible, but if she gives a good talk, guess what? My 87-year-old grandma is going to be like, oh yeah, she's credible because I watched this documentary, and not know the full facts of the case and look further into it.
That's my thing. All these other people are saying that they've dug in and they've investigated, but every time you ask them about the civil suit or any question about digging in, they can't answer any of those questions. So we're just going off what the Bradleys say. Why don't you just say that? I'm just going off what the Bradleys say, because you obviously haven't dug in. If you haven't looked at the civil suit, you haven't looked at anything else except for what Brad Bradley has said.
That's a very good point. When people are speaking, they have to tell people that this isn't fact. I'm going off what the Bradley family says. And again, if you're truly investigating and trying to find Amy Bradley, that they don't hold water. You really can't ride off that. Be very careful.
So I agree. I think it'd be good if you want to. Can you go over, maybe you and Crime talk all the inconsistencies? Well, not all of them, but a lot of the main inconsistencies that drop red flags for you, so the chat is aware.
I was about to say, we'll be here all day if you go through all of them.
Honestly, you know what? I will go through the ones I can remember off the top of my head, because it's like one of those things. It's like, hey, what's your favorite song? And then all of a sudden you can't remember any songs ever. But I will go through the ones that I can think of off the top of my head tonight. However, I will do my homework and I will write them all down. And I will bring that also, all of them, back to the live that I found. But I will mention the ones that, again, who was awake and talked to the Bradley to talk to Amy Bradley out on that balcony. That's been an inconsistency with the statements from the family. First, Iva was awake. Then Ron was awake. Then Ron told Brad to go to sleep, and Brad was asleep, and Ron was left with Amy out on the balcony. Then Ron was asleep when they walked in the door in 2 seconds from being at the nightclub. And now it was Brad out on the balcony alone. That story, who was the last person to be truly with Amy, has been an inconsistent story. Now you have the inconsistency, and why was the fact that Ron was in the nightclub never mentioned? And now all of a sudden he was in the nightclub and he saw her there. Then you have the inconsistency on whether or not he was awake. You mean to tell me, if we're going to go with the story that he was at the nightclub, then you mean to tell me and again, if you look at the recent documentary and the recent interviews that they're doing, 3 o'clock, my father woke up, realized that we were still out. He got nervous. So at 3 o'clock, he woke up. He got dressed. He went to the nightclub. He found Brad. He chatted with Brad for a little bit. All of that had to take quite a few minutes. Then they saw Amy. Hey, up. She's up there talking with Yellow and a whole bunch of people from the ship, right? Then he decided, and he said, you know what, Brad? I'm going to go back to the room. So he goes back to the room now, which again, all of that in totality had to have taken at least 20, 25 minutes, right? Just common sense. And I'm that's the least it took. Now he gets back to the room, and here comes Brad Bradley, supposedly, per Brad Bradley. He comes back at 3:30, and she comes back 5 minutes later. Ron wasn't asleep when they got back. Oh no, we were sleeping. Me and her got back. Then all of a sudden Ron was awake because Ron said, turn the light off for me in the bathroom. So were you asleep or you were awake when you got back? That is a big deal. Who was awake with Amy Bradley that night in that room? So that was an inconsistent story. Who was awake, who was not awake? And again, 2 key card swipes, 3 people entered that room. So now if what they're saying is true and Brad used his key card and Amy used her key card, then how did Ron get back into that room at approximately 3:25? Well, he had to have knocked on the door, which makes Iva also awake. Don't tell me you guys were sound asleep in REM in 3.5 minutes. So then both of them could have been awake when they got back to the room. That also is concerning. Which one is it? Who was awake, who wasn't?
I think a huge inconsistency, and that's not getting enough attention, is the Lori and Crystal statement. We obviously know now, in the beginning, they said they talked to him. He was normal. He was cool. And then suddenly it changed to he didn't talk to him. He walked past him. They found this alarming because he had talked to him all night before, so they took it as he was trying to hide something. Like, that is such a complete change right there. And that
now,
rules
let me ask you this, Crime. Whose inconsistency is that? Is that on Crystal and Lori, or is that on Brad telling their story?
I mean, I would say it's on Brad telling their story, but
Exactly.
I can't say for sure. So either way, somebody's being inconsistent, and I don't think we can take their word for it at all anymore. I think they're ruled out as witnesses.
You lose credibility when the story doesn't stay the same.
I completely agree. And now they don't want to be bothered at all. And I'm still going back to fear. They don't want to be smeared. Things have happened in their lives between the time this happened and now. I remember what happened to you. They don't want all that brought up and thrown out. They just don't want to be involved anymore, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, me neither. I absolutely agree with you.
Let's talk about shoes being inconsistent too. I mean, come on, for 27 years you've talked about these shoes, and that was the hottest topic when this Netflix documentary came out, those shoes. 1 million people asked Brad about those shoes, and you're telling me it took one creator to say, hey, when did you see those shoes? And it flew in his mind, oh my gosh, I never seen those shoes. But we have it on record of Brad saying that the dad woke up and he saw the cigarettes and lighter were gone, but the shoes were there.
Yep. That's another inconsistency. Let's see, I can really go on, a long time with these inconsistencies. And
yes, what they had and what they didn't, like the camera.
Yeah. That's another thing. We don't have the camera. We never found the camera. Then all of a sudden they had the camera. Make it make sense, guys.
20 years they didn't have a camera and a roll of film. That camera, roll of film, was missing for 20 years. 2018, it got removed from the website. Come on, guys.
Let's talk about the inconsistencies with the money. Oh, we have the $250,000 reward now, but we still need more we need to make sure that we push this GoFundMe, guys. We're going to need to be funded for this investigation. No, unfortunately, we don't have that $250,000 reward money anymore, and we need to make sure that we're out there. That's inconsistent. What happened to the money?
Well, I mean, I think we can say what happened to the money. I've been a little hesitant to bring this up or post about it, but I mean, it probably got spent on that brand new Corvette and that giant house.
Oh!
Damn, I'm trying to hear this tea.
Oh, yeah, there's I've got a brand new 2019 Corvette white, red interior, brand new as a Stingray. Yeah, $72,000 car, brand new.
Oh, that's impressive.
And yes, this is a
You're
fact.
begging
It's
for
on her
damn
Facebook.
money on a GoFundMe and making some corny ass t-shirts to get money.
I just am hearing this. I had no idea about this.
Yeah.
I just found it like 2 days ago. I seen the picture, and yes, for a fact, it is her car. I have a screenshot of it. Somebody's asking, "Is that your car?" She says yes. She says what kind it is. It's like a Z71 Stingray, 2019, brand new. It's a beautiful car. Don't get me wrong, but I'd say that's where your money is going, in my opinion.
Let's talk about another inconsistency. What about the inconsistency when Yellow supposedly walked up to Brad and said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your sister missing," when nobody supposedly knew? That not only did that timeline change, what Yellow supposedly said to him changed. All of that changed. That's an inconsistency as well. That's not credible. That's no longer credible because that story changed. There are so many inconsistencies with this. I need people to ask the questions.
Can you talk about the quote unquote scam? Somebody's asking about that in the comments. I think that's a good one too.
What scam? Which one?
How they got scammed out of money.
Frank Jones.
Oh, so this is where Dawn comes in, because Dawn can break this one down really well. She's the master at this one because she did a whole insane deep dive on it. And I would love for the Bradley family to talk to Dawn's about this. Now, with Frank Jones, that's one thing of this whole story that I'm not sure about yet. Is it a scam? Could that have been a scam that was gone wrong? That I'm not sure of. But again, number one, it wasn't their money. I need people to understand it was not their money that was being offered. So the fact that they were out $250,000 is not true.
And let's talk about the pictures that were forensically examined. Okay, they were proven to be Amy. How were they forensically examined but then turned out to be fake? How did Frank Jones know about the lullaby that Amy was sung to by her mother at bedtime when she was a little girl?
Right there.
This is suspicious.
Yeah. That right there. Then you have the inconsistencies with the life insurance. Okay, life insurance is not automatically paid out in a year. That's not true. Their life insurance, their insurance agents, they know that. She was the president of the company and the husband was the executive. They know this. They know this inside out. What other inconsistencies, guys? Let me see. You have the inconsistency with the story from Amika. Gosh, I'm trying to think what else. There's just been so many. And all of it she was trafficked because she got a puppy. Like, I need people to just ask the questions. It's frustrating. And I get Dawn's frustration. I absolutely get her frustration because everyone keeps going, prove it to me. If you go to Dawn's page, I want everybody to I don't care if there's 0 people in here. Go look at Dawn's page. Somebody pinned Dawn's name. She literally debunks everything that they say. Everything. That right there is a big deal. All of it is a big deal. No, the problem is you're not actually investigating if you're just going at what you're hearing in documentaries, unsolved mysteries, and Brad Bradlett's coming out of Brad Bradley's mouth. You literally got to deep dive. You literally have to deep dive. We're the perfect family. We love them. There's nothing wrong with us as a family. Meanwhile, when you look at the family, it's kind of sketch. They weren't the perfect family. The same thing with the inconsistency. Is she lesbian? Is she not? Does that matter? Absolutely. Inconsistency in what he says, we completely were fine with the fact that she was a lesbian. However, you're making homophobic tweets and your behavior states otherwise. That right there is an inconsistency. Why does it matter? Because that was an internal, emotional, psychological struggle for her. It had to be. Dawn's page is Dawn's 1OOP, right?
Yes.
It's DONS 1OOP. Yep, there you go. Ash just put it in the chat. Guys, go look at her video. Truth Finder
You know
has
what else I
Crime Talk does.
You know what else I noticed? This just came to me this morning. The Bradleys say that she wasn't struggling, right? Like, no struggles. She is good. But if you listen to the Netflix documentary, the FBI, the woman, she says, was up front and honest about her struggles. So, what struggles? I thought she didn't have any struggles.
That right there.
Yes, I caught that in the beginning. Yes.
That right there. That right there. And my question, this is another question we've never gotten the answer to. Now you say you've been searching for her nonstop for the last 27 years. Where? You sat there and said you were looking. You never went back to that island after that year. You say it was because it's dangerous, but it's actually what? Probably, in my opinion, safer than them coming over here to our country.
It's not an opinion, it's a fact. It's a level 1 for Curacao.
Go look it up. Go look it up. Do your homework, guys. Why would it be dangerous? It wasn't dangerous for his friends, the lawyers, to go down there and talk to Goyo.
And if it was dangerous, that's your damn sister and child. It doesn't matter how dangerous. It could be a war zone. You go in there and you're going to go look for your child. There is no excuse. I don't care. It could be the worst neighborhood in the world. I'm going to look for my baby. I don't care if he's 25. I'm going to look for my baby. And that makes me emotional for her.
Rachel, there's a lot of sketchy stories about the Bradleys too. There's a lot of sketchy stories about everything. Make it make sense. You're gonna go with the fact that she was trafficked because there's some sketchy online stories about Curacao. Did you look at the safety of did you do your homework? Go look at how safe it is, please.
There are unsafe areas literally everywhere on the globe. Everywhere.
There's
and when my
trafficking
daughter was missing, girl, I thought I was Liam Neeson. I didn't care about nothing. I was all up in everything. And so I cannot understand the other side of that.
That's so funny. She said, I thought I was Liam Neeson. But yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I mean, we can say like the Memphis Loves gas station is like the #1 in America place to get trafficked in America. But I still stopped there and got gas because I needed it. But you know, that's not going to, a parent, that's not going to stop them. You die for your kids. To your last breath.
Leaving during the search. They literally left during the search. Who would do that? That's crazy. I've never seen a family leave during a search.
Exactly. Now let's also, everyone wants to keep saying, well, the trafficking theory is backed up because of eyewitnesses. Well, number one, we already know that eyewitnesses are not credible, period, point blank. I don't argue me on it, okay? Besides that fact, look at the credibility of these eyewitness statements. The drunken sailor in a bar said this so many years later after he saw her face and the reward money in a magazine. That's credible. Nobody's questioning that. None of them are credible, guys. And we already know with Crystal and Lori how they're not credible.
I like how David Carmichael says on Netflix that if he just had 10 more seconds, what would he have done? Well, he had 10 more minutes because he followed him to the bar and sat there and watched her sit down and show off her tattoos and drink and do whatever she was doing. Come on.
There you go. It's a port that the Caribbean cruise ship worker at the time said to not get off the boat at.
Then why does the Royal Caribbean have that as a destination where you can get off and go on the beach? If it was that dangerous, they would not use that as a destination port. So that would probably be one of the safest places to go. So, you know, that's a question I have.
And people were already disembarking that morning. That's part of the reason they say they couldn't find her, because they had already let people disembark for the day on Curacao.
Why would they stop? It's money. I can't even look at those comments anymore because
if they think she's alive, why would they so within a year file a her life insurance policy? That you got 7 years to do that, so why wouldn't they wait till the last minute to file that life insurance policy? Why within the year?
And Rachel, would money stop you from getting your child? Because I don't need no money to stay on the streets of an island and look for my child.
Because a lawyer
I will
told them
eat
to.
raw fish.
Did a lawyer tell them to lie to the court? So we're just going to go with the lawyers now? They have no mind of their own. The lawyers told them to. Come on, guys.
Somebody said they didn't. Brad said it auto paid because it was international waters.
It does not auto pay.
No,
it does not auto pay.
You have to file for it.
They don't automatically say, hey, we're going to send you some life insurance because I heard from the news that your sister might have been trafficked at sea. No.
And you can just go look that up for yourself, too. You don't have to listen to us. It's a fact that it's not auto-paid. You have to put in a claim for it. They can get it earlier because it's in international waters. But it is not auto-paid. It's not. Just go look real quick. It'll take 2 seconds.
None of it makes sense to me. None of it makes any sense. Where is the money from the donations? Where's the $250,000 reward? Okay? Really think about it. Why would traffickers, a multi-million-dollar ring, kidnap somebody off of a ship when she was leaving willingly off that ship in an hour? Think about that. Why would they go through risk and everything to kidnap her off the ship when she was leaving the ship in an hour? Yeah, I know. Insurance tries not to pay, but they were trying to throw money at the Bradleys. Come on, guys. Make it make sense. I get people want to feel bad for them, but that's the big problem. They are just as suspect as everybody else. She would be leaving with her family. She was staying in a room with her family. Rachel? Make that make sense. So it's easier to kidnap her out of a small enclosed bedroom on a ship with 2,500 people than it would be to kidnap her out on an island? And honestly, if she went missing on the island, it would more look like it was just a crime of, it makes more sense for them to have kidnapped her off the island. They can't take her when she was with family. They took her off a ship. She was in a room with the family.
And let's see.
She left the room alone. Can you show me the evidence that tells you that she left that room alone?
And Amy was no meek, mild woman. She was a strong, independent woman that was athletic.
It's so obvious. What is so obvious? It's not obvious. That's the problem. It's not even close to obvious.
You're wasting your time arguing with someone who won't come up.
That's what I'm saying.
It's probably Brad or Sandy Ann, to be honest, that bought followers or something, or did a follow train on a burner.
There's bots in the chat right now, dude. Like, I just blocked 2 accounts that are leaving just straight up emojis, spamming the chat over and over. Like, y'all are being weird.
Let them spam. That right there just shows me that something I'm saying makes you really defensive. Why? Why are you trying to stop me from questioning? That's my question. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to silence me so bad if I'm making no sense?
And why were the mods from the Facebook group exiled? Because they were sick and tired of sticking up for Brad and his political stuff and cleaning out the mess from that. Why was my video reported for his Twitter post that he has publicly? If he agreed with that and he stands firm on that, what's wrong with showing that? Right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the typing while vacuuming, but I can't come up on the panel because I'm vacuuming.
And how do you hear anything that's being said if your vacuum's on?
You're typing. It'd be easier to be up here talking while you're vacuuming than typing while you vacuum. Who types while they vacuum?
I want a vacuum that's that quiet. Can you tell me what brand it is, since you hear everything that's being said?
Everybody in here who's defending the Bradley family, then if you're so convinced and you know the facts, then I invite you up here. In fact, I dare you to come up here. I triple doggy dare anybody to come up here.
I just want to know, like, how you can multitask and vacuum. And I have a Dyson. It's pretty quiet, but if I go and use that right now, you guys will think I'm blowing leaves. Like, with the blowing.
Same.
I mean, guys, you're all in the chat. Come on up here. Tell me what you have to say. I'm respectful. In fact, change my mind. I dare somebody to come up here and shoot down anything that I say, because nothing is said I can't show proof of.
And Grammy D said, "Why would someone unalive a family member over being a lesbian?"
Nobody
Nobody's
said
saying that they
no one
unalived her for being a lesbian. I'm saying there was a rift in that family, and that might play a key part. I'm not saying they did anything malice towards her or anything, you know, that they unalived her. But what I'm saying is, to have a family member that, and it's a sister, that is part of the LGBTQ plus, you would think maybe your opinions might change on that. And it's very alarming to see how we felt. So it makes me wonder, how did you feel about your sister? Because 27 years ago, it was even worse if you were a lesbian, you know? So they probably felt more so. What was she going through mentally with them? And I don't know. I'm just saying.
And then I don't know who I was talking to this morning, but they were talking to me about how there's no way, because again, the narrative changed, the story changed to fit the Bradley's narrative that she was too close to shore for Amy to have been thrown overboard or jumped or fell, because they would have found the body, which I will debunk that as well. First of all, there's a really big current over there. Okay, do you also know that there was another ship that went down over there? So there's a lot of debris in the shallow waters over there. The chances of her getting caught on something and not surfacing, first of all, is extremely likely because of all the corals. There's a what do you call it when you have ground underneath the water and then it just drops? What do you call that? Can't think of the name of it right now.
What is it? Can
you know when you have ground in the ocean and then all of a sudden it just drops? I can't think of the name of it right now. But that is a shelf. A shelf. They have a shelf right there in the bay. Okay, and then you have the current and the tides, and you're talking about the water temperature. You're talking about the winds. Absolutely, she could have gone overboard and not have surfaced. Absolutely, that's a possibility. But again, people want to hear that, oh, we were too close to shore, that it was too shallow. Absolutely not true. And the guy who said it on the documentary, somebody go find him for me. You're not going to find him because I can't. We searched. I had an entire team looking into him. Can't find him anywhere. Somebody go find him and tell him to come prove it. Because the one who said that that's his job and he's lived there his whole life ain't there.
And can you, Ivory, go over kind of like how the current is in that area so people can understand? And this is proven if you look up
so you got
weather
the tide
reports
coming in, and then you have a top current going, I think it's west-northwest. But then you have an undercurrent that pulls everything out. Because of the shelf there and the eddies, all of that there's a horrible current right there in that shallow water, in the channel, in the canal going into the shore. There's a horrible current right there that will pull everything out. And that's not even counting the fact that the amount of debris that's right there. Guys, go look it up. Go, if you don't believe me, go look it up. Look it up for yourself. So, number one, yes, her body could have absolutely been taken out of sea because of the eddies, because of the current, and you're talking about the wind, the temperature of the water, all of that, absolutely. And then you have to think of the debris that's right there, very close to the shore, and go look that up too. It's known to be a very high debris area, and another ship went down, or that she could have been caught on something. That is extremely likely. Go look it up. Go look it up. Look it up. In fact, you can go to the website. I can't think of the website that tells you about the currents and the tides. The Curacao, the port, Curacao port.gov or something like that. Go look it up.
And people are in the chat stating, well, the expert on Netflix said she would resurface.
Oh, please do me a
Where is
favor.
he?
Go message that expert and ask him to come here, because you're not going to find them.
No.
You can find no information on the man that doesn't bring you back to the Netflix documentary.
So if you know his real name and his real profession, can you please let us know? That's just like on a case, certain doctors who weren't never diagnosed somebody is saying they had this, that, and the other. That's been proven on other cases too.
So, Grammy, what does the fact that her girlfriend said she was looking forward to being back together again after the trip have anything to do with the price of tea in China?
She's saying she wouldn't have
What that shows me right there is that she was in an internal struggle. Why? Because you're saying that she had a boyfriend. Brad Bradley's saying she had a boyfriend. She broke up with the boyfriend. She really wanted to be with her. There was an issue with her being with somebody else, and that's why her and Molly originally broke up, right? And now all of a sudden she wants to get back with Molly, so she's writing her this letter. That's an internal struggle. That's more of a reason for her to have jumped. Add on to the fact that she was drinking, which is a depressant in and of itself, and anybody who's had quite a few beers knows that all of a sudden it's also liquid courage, right? So that right there just backs up that theory. Well, people
Can I point out one? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I point out one thing that's not necessarily Amy related specifically, but it is to these lives? If I had like a light bulb moment tonight, I'm back doing research and I find something and I say, okay, you know what? You're wrong. Ivory, you're wrong. I will be the first one in the morning on your live saying, you're wrong. This is why. Let me show you what I found. And I would have zero fear of repercussions. You're not going to report me. You're not going to cause me problems in my personal life. You're not going to cause me problems on my job. Can the same thing be said about the other side?
No. And that's the whole thing. I would love for somebody to knock down what I'm saying. Tell me it ain't true. I'll be the first one to admit, you guys have watched my opinion on my theory change from the very beginning. I'll be the first to admit, if I see something that is highly likely or shows some kind of proof evidence, I am not against changing my opinion. Absolutely not. I'd be the first one to admit it. I told you all, I originally thought she walked off that ship. There's nothing wrong with changing your opinion because you saw something, or, you know what I mean? Like you got some kind of evidence that might point to a certain direction. But again, I invite people to come up here and show me.
And, saying, so you all the cases of people seeing her are lies. Well, they're not true. I mean, they're not like confirmed.
They're not credible.
They're not credible. And then the other question was, so y'all believe she unalived herself? No. But what I believe is there's more questions that need to be answered in this whole case that has been glossed over for the family's GoFundMe. Personally.
Now, Grammy D, you just said all the cases of people here are lies. All the cases of people seeing her are lies. Do you know who Natalie Holloway is? Because people saw her, spoke with her, had conversations with her. There were so many sightings of Natalie Holloway that after they found her body and realized that she never made it off that beach, they realized could not have been possible.
And that happens in every missing persons case, sadly. I have a friend that has been missing for the last 5 years, and still to this day in a Facebook group that we have for him.
They absolutely did find her body. Oh, no, they didn't find her body. He admitted that he killed her on the beach. She never left that beach. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. But, sadly that happens in every missing persons case. There are people who think that they saw something, And ultimately they want to help, and that's a good thing. Like, thank God that there are people who think that, it's a potential. I could have seen her, or I could have seen him, or maybe I saw this, or this was weird. Let me tell someone about it. And that's like a good thing. That's like the humanity in us, wanting to bring closure to people. But those are not, you can't, unless it's something verified, you can't go off of these alleged sightings. Sadly, it doesn't bring you any closer to bringing your loved one home.
Yeah, and I believe, the FBI, they looked into it and realized it wasn't credible. Just like baby Emmanuel went missing and there was a sighting. The investigators went and looked and it wasn't credible. Unfortunately, it wasn't him. So it happens a lot, with any missing persons case. The little boy from Oregon, Oakley Carlson, and I'm from Washington, so I'm thinking of cases near where I was born and raised. But who was that little boy that went missing? And the Cajun Navy had to try to find him. What was his name?
Sebastian Rogers.
Yeah, there's been sightings of him, but they weren't credible, unfortunately.
Again, you got to go with what's credible. You got to go with what's plausible, not because your heart wants to believe everything you hear.
Ivory, thank you for having me, girls. I got to get going, okay? Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thanks, Crime.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Exactly, Simone. There were sightings of Madeline McCann as well. There's been, you know what I mean? Like, people talk to Lacey Peterson.
Well, y'all know that I try to help in my local area when we have someone missing. And I've been trying to help with a case of a lady that's missing on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And we have had so many sightings. I've been myself. I have found people that the sightings were of, and I'm like, and I've talked to them. It's not her. Are there some similarities? Sure, maybe in hairstyle or weight. There are different things, but none of them have panned out. And there was one, was a bartender who says she comes into our bar. And so I contact them and they're like, we'll go back through the cameras. And if she comes back in, we're going to let you know. And the next day I get surveillance footage from them. I bet she outweighed this girl by 100 pounds. And the tattoos, she had tattoos, and that was a big thing for them. Never mind the fact the tattoos were not even on the same place on her body. These people were trying to help. They're reaching, they're trying to help, but they're just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And someone just asked in the comments section about the photos. Who's got proof that that was her?
You can't say that the photos of her on the beach from Frank, the PI that scammed them, were forensically examined and said it was not her. And these pictures were forensically examined and they are her. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hi there. I'm just my question is, I'm a little lost in the second part of it being refuted. When I was under the impression that they had those photos checked out and forensically checked out, and it was her. And I'm lost on the fact that someone else did that afterwards to prove that they really weren't real.
The other set of photos that Frank used to scam them from the money, it was her on the beach with the hat, and she had the same tattoos, and it was forensically examined, determined that is her. Then they find out that these tattoos were actually just temporary drawn-ons they had used to try to scam the money from the family. So if it's forensically examined and these are not her because that's what they said, and these are her because that's what they said, that doesn't make sense.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm talking about the photos of the woman, like it was supposed to be hers in those photos.
The jazz photos, yes. So if they were forensically examined and they were her. and the ones on the beach were forensically examined, and they were her. Am I making sense or no?
Yeah, maybe I'm not. I'm thinking,
In other
the
words, they can
parents,
say,
when the parents in an
even being
interview
forensically examined, they can sit there and say it's close, but they can't say it's her.
no, there was an interview with the parents before this this Netflix thing, and it was a while ago, and they said when the parent, I don't know if it was the mother or not, it was the parents together, said that they received that picture of her in the, those photos that weren't so flattering of her, and said that they received them pictures. They gave them to somebody to forensically figure out if that was really her. They checked the ears. They checked, the facial structure and all this. Are they still saying that they think those are real?
They said they think that it could be her.
Okay, and those were never refuted. So it was the beach ones that were.
Yes.
Okay, that was my question. I'm sorry if I was unclear.
No, that's okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Tina.
I'm not sure how to get down here. You might have to help me
I
out.
can knock you down. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think it's entirely possible that it's her face that was photoshopped onto another body and that they were sent to them as just because some people suck and do mean things, or that it was something that had been created for them to utilize from their side.
I feel like Dawn said this too. They feel like that could be her, and those pictures were put there.
I don't think it's her body because I do trust Kat on that.
Yeah, that too.
And Kat is her ex-girlfriend, right?
Yes, she says that's not her body, and I just believe she would know, and I don't see why she would be motivated to lie about any of it.
No, Kat wouldn't. I don't. She's sweet. She seems very credible and wanting the best for Amy and to be, her story to be out there.
Yeah,
and humanize Amy as a human, not just a missing person. That's a Netflix doc.
All she's done. She doesn't even give her opinion. She just, again, tells people who she is or who she knew her as.
Bunza Hoy asked a really good question. Do we know who originally found the jazz pic?
Just that they were emailed to the family.
Yeah.
Never said from what email address or if they checked where that came from. I would assume they did, but I don't. If they said, I don't recall.
Yep.
It's just weird to me because if these things were really true and really verified, the FBI would have been able to solve this case. Let's be really serious about it,
Yeah. Not even that, but that's a good point there, Jamie. The IP address that they can't find. You mean to tell me with all the computer sciences we got going on, cybersecurity, FBI, they got a whole team for that. You mean to tell me that we don't know where those pictures came from or that website? Or who's visiting that IP address that's visiting the website?
They say they can't track that because they have to jump through all these hoops because of it being international. Well, jump through the hoops then. It's been 27 years. Why ain't everybody leaping through the hoops?
Right.
Make that happen. And I understand that the FBI has to jump through hoops. Baby, there's a 12-year-old somewhere that could track that address for them.
That's true.
My son probably could.
Dude, I could do it right now, today. No problem.
Yeah, my son, he's 13 and he knows more about how to watch the Seahawks game for free without having to get the NFL network or whatever. And do all this type of stuff on the internet. It just comes naturally. So and there's programs out there to track IP addresses. They might cost a little money, but it's not nothing. You pay for it
I'm sure the GoFundMe could cover it.
Oh yeah.
And you mean to tell me that they've got a whole uncle who Amy was supposed to work for, who is a software developer and an international maritime expert, and y'all can't figure nothing out?
There's that. there's that. I just feel like, if you're really truly looking for Amy Bradley, and I'm going to say this again, guys, ask the questions and look at everything. Do your own homework. Don't believe me. Don't believe anybody. Do your own homework and look into it. Now, take into consideration what all sides are saying and really look into it, because that's the only way that you're going to find Amy Bradley is if you look into it without tunnel vision. Now, it's obvious the family has tunnel vision. They want this one narrative to be true, and so they're working so hard to try and prove it's true because they want it to be true. However, that doesn't make it true.
But I'm stunned by the fact they would want it to be true.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Especially when there's no solid evidence or anything credible backing it up.
Well, and that's the thing. They it's like they stuck to this one story of the trafficking. Well, if you know it's the trafficking, and it's yellow, and that's the ultimate who it is, then why is it not, the investigation is not done? Why is it still a cold case?
And in 30 years, the FBI couldn't take this incident and tie it to any kind of trafficking ring that's down there. They know about the rings if there's rings down there. So you mean to tell me everyone just sat back, everyone's at fault? The FBI didn't do their due diligence or do what they were supposed to do. The cruise ship didn't do their due diligence and do what they were supposed to do. The police down there, nobody did their due diligence. Everybody's guilty of just what? It just makes no sense.
There's a lot of finger pointing and deflection.
Yeah. Tina said they got life insurance. Why didn't they have an end of life service? I don't know. I can't speak on whether they did or didn't. However, I don't see any evidence that they had any kind of, end of life service. I can't say for a fact that I know whether or not they have. Because again, what's so funny to me is because if they did that, then that would be saying she was dead. That would be admitting she was dead.
So does a wrongful death suit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
the life insurance policy and getting a death certificate on her.
And why is Brad not allowed to mention Royal Caribbean? You guys,
there.
Think of that too. That's another red flag.
Yep.
In my mind, that's another red flag.
His attorneys have probably told him he could face a defamation suit, would be just my guess.
And he definitely should. He definitely should.
I think that came with Royal Caribbean during the lawsuit.
That they were, and can you go over that lawsuit one more time, Ivory, about the Royal Caribbean lawsuit?
So the Royal Caribbean lawsuit, they had two cases. They had one for negligence, Ron and Brad had for defamation, and then the other one was wrongful death. So in these court cases, they were 1 minute fighting that she was still alive, she was trafficked, and it was Royal Caribbean's fault. And in the next one, they were fighting that she was dead. And that it was Royal Caribbean's fault. So I don't know, guys. Make sense of that. Now the cases were dismissed with prejudice because during the case in discovery, they were asked to turn over all of the sightings that there were out there that they had knowledge of Amy Bradley, and there were, I think, in fact, about 104 or 105 of them, and they only turned over 3. And so the 3 during that case were the ones that showed that she was in duress and that showed that she could have potentially been a victim of trafficking, and those were the only ones they handed over, the ones that pushed their narrative. They did not, however, hand over the others, the other 100.
And what I find odd, and this is just my opinion, is that, he comes up with they come up with all these new theories that these other people are saying. Is it to push the narrative, like, oh, because other people are saying this and I agree, now it's true and you people will believe it, and you won't have to ask me any more questions because there's 5 other people that said this, and so I'm going to go off of this and change my story up, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
What happened, Pink?
She might be like getting breakfast or something.
Oh no, I went to the vape store and they upped the prices like extremely. I just paid $37 for a vape that I normally pay $25 for. And I didn't realize until I stuck my card in that the price was so high. And I'm like, damn, the price went up. And then he went into this whole explanation about it. And I was like, all right, I gotta go. I mean, I needed my vape either way, but I'm just like, good God, $37 for a vape. Like, y'all really want me to not have nicotine in my life.
That's so funny. But guys, on this note, I'm going to end this live. I have something that I have to do. I actually got a plumber coming. So I got to get off here. I will be back on later on tonight, guys. So join me then and we'll go over this again. And hopefully, guys, go find some people that are willing to come up here and talk about it because I'm really curious as to what people have to say. I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody on the panel. And I will see you guys later.
Y'all have a good day.
Bye.